In our society, mass media has created an image of young black males.
Criminals shooting it out in the streets with no one around to stop them.
Every time I look on the news, I always hear something, you know, like young black male shot in the street.
And I heard a gunshot right by my house.
When you think about African-American men in Oakland,
kind of seem like they're trying to be extinct. They're losing too many of them.
How do these perceptions compare to reality?
people don't understand. African-American males can, like, the power that they have to create change is just so high, and they underestimate what we can do.
What are the first 3 words that come to mind when you think about African-American men in Oakland?
Peace, love, and honor.
Smart, intelligent, and respectful.
What are the first 3 words that come to mind when you think about African American men in Oakland?
I see determination, I see hustle, I see, you know what I mean, I see that integrity.
In Oakland, California, a group of young men set out to explore these questions. The African American Oral History Project has equipped a group of young African American men to document the multiple perspectives young black men in Oakland have of themselves and each other using oral history. Our team consists of 5 young men from 5 different high schools in Oakland. In April 2012, they began their training in oral history methodology, interview skills, and videography. Guest speakers, such as education advocate Oscar Wright and journalism professor and radio host Davey D, spoke to the youth about African American culture, Oakland history, and the value of sharing stories.
I want to thank you guys for hanging in here, you know, because most of the time when you go to these things, you see about 10 times more young women than they do men. To see this 6 young men here, 7 and 8, I see these young men here, and we see these young men here. This is something that we need. We need you. We really need you bad. We need to step up to the plate.
Well, when you look at African people and African culture, you know, the way that we pass history along is through what we call the oral tradition. So it's all about stories. People like to make it seem like, well, if you civilized people will write their stories down and put it in a book. No, actually, 95% of the world tells their history through stories. It's through the oral tradition. And those who were charged with keeping the history of a community and of a people, they were known as jellies or griots. You know, these are different words that you could use for them. I mean, these are sacred people. These are folks that, you know, you have to go to them and they go, let me tell you what the history is of your people. Let me tell you the history of your family. Let me tell you the history of your city or your town or the situations that you're in. That's real important, and it's usually told through stories.
After months of training and practice, the youth were ready to go out into the field and conduct interviews. We interviewed students at Edna Brewer Middle School, Oakland Tech High School, Parker Elementary, Dewey Academy, Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary, and Youth Uprising Community Center. We also interviewed young men at a bus stop at Eastmont Mall and on the corner of 14th and Broadway in downtown Oakland, the Art and Soul Festival in downtown Oakland, and the Alameda County Health Fair at Eastmont Mall. We heard all kinds of stories. Stories of challenges and commitment, struggles and strength. Most of all, we learned that there isn't a single narrative that can describe African American men in Oakland. Each has a unique story to tell.
Everybody got their own story to tell. You know their name, but not their story.
Just be patient. You will get your time to shine, but growing up in the hood and living that gangster lifestyle or thug lifestyle, it ain't nothing good gonna come out of it at all. I've lived it, I've done it. I started thugging at 12 years old, like, started young. I'll be 19 in a week. I've been to jail 3 times. It took about the 3rd time for me to have a real experience. Like, I need to grow up, man. I need to mature. It just clicked.
What's the scariest thing that ever happened to you?
First time I found out my mom died, that was the scariest thing because my sisters were there and I didn't know what to do. You know, I just didn't know whether to cry. I was just like, okay, my mom's gone. Like, what am I supposed to do? You know, that's being a big brother.
And at the time, what was going through your head? What was you thinking?
My mom, really. At this time, I'm like, all right, what is there for me to do? You know, that's what's going through my mind. Like, what is my next step? You know, I'm gonna cry in a minute. That's my #1 step. But what am I supposed to do right now? You know, what is that thing that will define my future as a man? You know, at this moment for my sisters. When I walk down the street, a lot of the times I get looks from people like, should I cross the street? Like, you know, it's like, it's a lot of assumptions. But when you really get to know and learn about these men, these young men, you find out that they aren't much different than you.
As a minority, you feel marginalized, I personally find. You feel, you know, you're called a minority, and that just never sat well with me. I don't like that.
Like you're lower.
Yeah, it's like lower or like kind of pushed aside, or you know, there's not enough of you to do anything. I don't know what it is. It just never sat right. But apparently anybody who's not white is a minority, and it's just kind of interesting.
Describe your life in 10 years.
I don't want to be a music producer. I hope to become a music producer. I hope to have started my own family in general. You feel me? I hope to have done a lot of work around the world. You feel me? You know, because I feel like the world revolves around music. Like, we didn't have music. Imagine how boring this world would be. Imagine like the stuff we be going through now just without music was here. So I feel like music helps the world in the long run. So that's what I want to do.
When my uncle was still alive, and he was Huey Newton, and he did a lot of positive things for our black community. I was proud to be a black African American man.
People need to know that just because African American men look funny doesn't mean they don't have great skills.
What's it like being a young African American man in Oakland?
Sometimes it means people will treat you different. Sometimes it means you need to be very courageous, and you need to know who you are and what you stand for.
We were inspired by the stories we heard, particularly the viewpoints of our youngest interviewees, filled with wisdom and respect. One instance was when we interviewed a group of students at Parker Elementary in deep East Oakland. This is an area known to be underserved and at times extremely dangerous. However, when asked to complete the sentence, community is, one child's answer, to paraphrase, was the beautiful place where wonderful people live. This attitude, echoed by others of varying ages, goes to show that even in the face of systematic social drama, the outlook of a young black man in Oakland can be bright and hopeful.
I agree because I think the younger ones did have more to say than the older people. They want to do something with their life.
If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
What I would change one thing about myself is to be a leader and not a follower.
What advice would you give other African American youth?
To never give up their dream and keep on going.
In the process of recording these stories, The young men on our team learned many things, from how to use a video camera, to how to ask good questions, to what it means to be professional, to the value of speaking their truth.
By, I want to say responsibility, because we had to be here on time, and I wasn't the type of person to really be on time, as you know, but now I'm starting to do it, starting to come on time, you know, and also learning stuff, because I learned a lot in this program, not just as in, you know, building up cameras or putting mics, but also as in, you know, history and how this world is just not the world that they say it is. You know, there's other things that you have to think about and get facts from, because there's a lot of things that's like going on and you might just miss it just because you're not open-minded.
It would be a good way to work on my social skills, because like I'm a pretty quiet person, so I don't really talk to anyone that I don't know, and like here you have to, you know, walk up to random people, just kind of out of my comfort zone. So I definitely think like it opened up me, you know, personally to other people and stuff like that, because I'm not a very social person.
This project was successful in that we were able to uplift the voices of a wide range of young African American men. And we'll be sharing these stories through a book, an exhibition in 2013. The project was also successful by giving our interview team the opportunity to step out of their shells, pick up some valuable academic, life, and career skills, empower themselves, and become the change agents we need in order to appreciate all people, regardless of their age, race, gender, color, or creed, for who they truly are.